Before now, I don't think that it has ever happened in the Gambia where before the budget is being passed, we're having this kind of dialogue. I might be wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong. So this is actually a step towards a positive landscape to see that our voices, the representation of the communities we work with, are reflected in the national budget. So with that hope, by the end of this program, I hope that we are all able to contribute very effectively to this very important dialogue. We hope that our recommendation would actually make it into the 2026 national budget, and this would actually be a very great step forward to make sure our voices and our priorities are actually reflected. Once again, I will say thank you, and I will call on Lamin Diba to come give an opening statement. This is just a welcome remark to say thank you all for coming, and I hope that this will be a very, very fruitful discussion. And I will call on Lamin Diba, the founder and executive director of CBMT, to come give an opening statement. Thank you.
I'd like to start by saying good morning to you all. As my colleague Mariam has said, my name is Lamin Diba, and I am the executive director of the Center for Budget and Macroeconomic Transparency. So, the Center for Budget and Macroeconomic Transparency was founded in February 2024. And the aim of our founding was and is to promote budget transparency, to promote macroeconomic transparency, and to help ensure that the citizens of this country have high understanding of our national budget and our national budget process. And since then, since our establishment, we have conducted several research works, and as you can see here, this is our website. Most of the work that we've done, we've published on our website. And I will implore on all of you to check our website. There are revelations there, key findings there that you, as an individual or as a civil society organization, will definitely be interested in. But now the PR is done. We can get back to the formality. So I'd like to start by acknowledging the presence of the representative from EU, the European Union, Mr. Tariq Kuwait. Mr. Tariq, you're welcome. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of representatives from the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. And finally, my own people. I'd like to acknowledge your presence, the civil society members, the civil society representatives. It is a pleasure to have all of you here to participate in this significant initiative. I have to admit, it is indeed uplifting to see all of you here. It is. And I'd like to extend our sincere appreciation to the European Union for its support, and also to all of you here present for your participation. Why is this activity important? There are many reasons, but one main reason is that it will enhance public participation, public representation in our national budget process. This public participation, public representation in the national budget process is key to inclusive national budgeting and inclusive national progress. Without inclusivity, obviously, we would have one-sided development, where citizens of this country are not having equitable benefit, where some citizens are enjoying the wealth of the country while others, or probably majority, are not. So this activity is important to ensure that the budget, our national budget, is inclusive. Our national budget represents the voices of the masses. It represents the civil society's voice. So at the end of this activity, what we want is to have a list of recommendations that will be submitted formally to the National Assembly as a way of saying to them, here is us, the civil society representatives, the civil society organizations, presenting our pleas, presenting our concerns to you for consideration and inclusion in the national budget. All we want is to have an inclusive budget that speaks for all Gambians, that represents all Gambians. And I hope by the end of this event, we will have had tangible recommendations. We will have been able to identify significant issues regarding the budget. And we will also be able to further go to the National Assembly and make our concerns, our recommendations, our observations known to them. I don't want to take a lot of time. I want to stop here. And once more, I want to appreciate all of you for being here. And thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Lamin. I'm going to call on the EU representative present here with us today, Tariq, to come give a keynote speech and declare the workshop officially open for the next 2 days.
Good morning. First of all, thank you very much, Lamin Diva, Executive Director of the Center for Budget and Macroeconomic Transparency, for hosting this event, for convening us. Thanks also for inviting the EU and giving us space for elaborating briefly. Welcome especially also to friends and colleagues from the Ministry of Finance, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol concerned. I would like to take you to some context from the EU's point of view of budget transparency and how that links to our current and previous operations. So since 2017, we have supported, the EU has supported with 4 successive budget support programs, the democratic transition processes in the Gambia. At the core of each of these budget support programs was the implementation of the National Development Plan, transitional justice processes, and other key reforms for public service delivery, where the at the core of this budget support. And this is ongoing, and we are currently in the process of formulating a new budget support program. So far, we have disbursed approximately 150 million euro since 2017. Whenever there is a budget support operation in the formulation, in the design, in the approval process of a new program, but also in the approval process of each payment, there are 4 policy, what we call eligibility areas that can approve, but can stop budget support operations. So these 4 areas are: number 1 is a policy that we are supporting relevant? Is it credible? Number 2, is there macroeconomic stability in the country where we are providing budget support? Number 3, is there progress in the area of budget transparency and oversight? And the 4th area is public financial management reform. When it comes to the assessment on budget transparency, we are looking in particular at 4 areas. One is on the executive side and one is on the oversight. So on the executive, it's about the accessibility of documents. So is there progress in the number of relevant budget documents, like in-year budget execution reports, end-year budget execution reports, the executive budget proposal? Are they available in the public domain, or are they timely available, or are they uploaded with delay? So this is an area. But also, is there evidence on the involvement of civil society during the formulation of the budget? So we always take a dynamic approach. So is there progress? Is there evidence of progress? You're not looking for perfection, but for a steady positive. The same when it comes to the scrutiny by the National Audit Office and the Parliament. Is there progress in terms of the availability of documents? For example, the financial audit report, is it from 21 or is it from 23? Is there a backlog, or is it timely according to the legislative framework? Also, is there evidence that views of the civil society are taken into account during the oversight processes? So I think this, in a nutshell, explains a bit the methodological framework, how we assess reforms on budget transparency. Gambia has done quite well in recent years. So recent years, I'm talking about the period 2019 to 23, because the assessment from the International Budget Partnership has rated Gambia in 21 better than in 29, and has rated Gambia in 23 better than in 21. So it's a bit at the level of the peer countries in the ECOWAS region. And of course, there's room for improvement, but the overall progress is positive. There are also other areas that are not captured by this assessment, like in the public expenditure and financial accountability assessment. Some of you might be familiar with the PEFA. It zooms in on areas like, for example, service delivery units at local government councils. Are there budgets available at this level closer to the citizens? Are the budgets known to the citizens? Are budget execution known? What about central government service delivery units? Are the services known? Are the budget executors known? So these are areas that are periodically also assessed and important. Now, among concerns, if I may just, before I finish, raise some areas where, from the EU point, we think there is room of improvement. It's in particular about the disaggregation of budget execution information. So when we look at the approved budget, the executive, but also the approved budget by the Assembly, it's very detailed. So there is, at item level, you can look at all the budget entities. If you are interested in a particular directorate on a particular ministry, or if you are want to look at a particular classification, recurrent, non-recurrent, development, non-development, you can find it. Now, when it comes to the budget execution report that is public available, the disaggregation is much less. There are a lot of reasons to that, which I think are a bit beyond now inaugural statement. But I think for the citizens and civil society to be able to perform the role of accountability, they depend on a higher disaggregated budget execution report information. And if I may just give a concrete example where this is difficult. So when, for example, you know that the proposed government local fund appropriation from the Ministry of Health is 3 billion, and you know that out of these 3 billion, 2.8 billion have been executed. That's very difficult to use for accountability, because you want to know what kind of services what were the targets in this financial year, what were the improvements achieved, and how much was spent on that. So the disaggregation is really important. The same relates to poverty-related expenditure. And then finally, let me close on one area that government is, in our view, very much committed to for several years, but it's a very complex reform, so it takes time. It does not, cannot be achieved within one financial year. And this is a change from an input-based focus to an outcome policy-based focus. So what it means basically that input-based, so you have the different inputs that the ministry uses to deliver its services. But what the citizens are most interested about is what kind of services are delivered to the citizens with these inputs. And the more this information is available in the public reporting and public accountability, what kind of public goods or what kind of public services were delivered to the citizens in the area of agriculture, in the area of education, in the area of secondary education, primary education, in the area of trade. The more this information is available, the more powerful the accountability advocacy processes can be. I think I've overstretched my time budget, but thanks a lot for your patience and thanks for having me and giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric, for that. So we go outside to have a group photo, and then we come back to start the session. I also want to acknowledge the presence of the Ministry of Finance.